What are some of the technological developments that you don't think are getting enough attention or interest right now, but will be really front of mind, say, in 3 to 5 years?
Well, we're in one particular company, which is Eli Lilly, which is the company behind that weight loss drug, the semaglutide, and it's valued at $7.75 billion, $750 billion thereabouts, depending on what day you look at it. And you can get to those kinds of numbers. I mean, it's the valuation's a little bit rich just on weight loss, but we don't think of the company on that basis. We think of the company, and I'll pause there and just say we think about it in a whole bunch of other different reasons, and I'll come back to those in a minute. But what's happening in terms of happening in the next 3 to 5 years that's being glossed over is all of the developments, the move fast and break things inside of what you consider the digital economy, what Facebook did, what Google did, where they just roll out the product, work out how to monetize it, and if they Tesla, if they break some rules with autonomous driving and a few people get killed, that's unlucky, etc., etc. One place that you're not allowed to do that, move fast and break things, is in healthcare. Because the FDA, the United States FDA, stands like a bulwark against people, developing drugs like thalidomide and having them get through the net and causing, problems for unborn babies. And there's a mighty canon of work on all the ways that genetics can go wrong. And it's stupefyingly complex, and I really do mean that. So you can't move fast and break things in human health and drug development, right? But all the processing capability that has been happening in all other areas where they do move and break things, that is all as well being brought to bear in human health and drug development. And it's not properly valued, we believe, and it's not properly understood. And so we think the answer to your question, Alec, is we think there is a lot of developments in human health, drug developments, biotech, which are going to, meet their hurdle of safety in the next 3 to 5 years and significantly change the health outlook.
We are going to dive into some stocks later, so let's go deep on Lilly towards the end.
Okay,
Alex.
Good tease to keep people listening.
Yeah. I also
keep watching.
Now, tech disruption and innovation has largely been a story of the US. Have you seen a new wave of disruption coming from any other geographies, or is it still very much the story of the US?
It's mostly the US.
Yeah.
It's all about, exceptionalism, read technological excellence, is a byproduct of free thought, the democratic process. Because if you're not allowed to think about things because you're told, in Russia that you can't think about things, then you get, Yandex, for argument's sake, a search company only in Russia that it's kind of, not highly valued. So you need a democratic process. You need capitalism so democratic for the freedom of thinking, capitalism to throw money behind it, and no excessive amounts of regulation. You need regulation. And I'm a huge believer in regulation. That's what the FDA does, for argument's sake, and the National Highway Transport. And that's why you have, the TSA in America investigating plane crashes. That's all regulation, and an appropriate amount of regulation, but not over-regulation. So in Europe, tick for democracy, tick for capital, but not so much of a tick for regulation. A little bit too much regulation. And so you've got some individual companies that have done really, really well, like SAP, fantastic disruptive company, disrupting itself, and that's worked really well. And then to break my own rule that I've just said, there's a lot of disruption happening in China. So no tick democracy, no tick, half tick capitalism, and half tick regulation. So it's regulated. So it's kind of 2 ticks altogether out of 3, but it's enough if it's executed well enough. I'll tell you this. There has just been a review of the 14th 5-year plan to be developed in China. We are moving into the 15th one from 2025 shortly. And this particular 5-year plan, and everyone made jokes about this for a very long time, basically 70 years correctly, because all of the 5-year plans produced too many tractors that didn't work, or just, a monster in terms of, what happened to economies. But this particular 5-year plan overseen by Xi, and, I have my problems with Xi, but this part is true, has been rated amongst the best executed 5-year plans ever. And not only just against other 5-year plans, but in terms of the success of the Chinese economy, it's off the charts. So if you're wondering why you're getting these, BYD cars out here being priced at 50 grand and they're basically build, execution, everything's fantastic, it's because of that. If you're wondering why we're getting battery technology coming out of China that's so far ahead, it's because of that. If you're wondering why the sustainable energy business is so far ahead in China, it's because of that. So what Xi did correctly is he said, okay, I get it, but we're all going in this direction. And if you don't like it, see you later. But if you do like it, we will support you all the way to the hilt. And that's what they've done. And so China is the exception because they've managed to do it without democracy and with half capitalism and half regulation. But because they've had such a strong push in the direction of leapfrogging the West, it's worked for them. So you get a little bit of it in Europe, you've had a lot of it in China, and it remains to be seen whether it's anywhere else, but most of it's in the US still.